Hello again, and this is just a short little video about this assignment, the statement of area of research, to help maybe answer some questions in advance. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't ask more questions because I'm always open to you getting some clarification online. So this assignment is brief, but it will require you to do quite a bit of thinking. So the first step here is you are in the process of making decisions about what your research is going to involve. You've done some of this work in previous courses, and I hope you're seeing that this is an evolving process. Very few people come into a master's program with the idea of what they want to study and just stick with it through the whole process. So if you feel yourself shifting, it's almost like the ground shifting under your feet as you read more literature and as you go further into the process. If you feel yourself being pulled in another direction, that's absolutely normal and that's good. If you're kind of set in your direction and you've got a really good focus and you're happy with it, that's also good. But I have seen people change topics quite dramatically, even well into the second year of this program. So don't feel like you are set in stone at this point, or that any decisions that you make are going to be final or unchangeable. That said, we do have to start narrowing things down a little bit, especially for these courses. So we have to make some decisions. So this is not easy. And what I often tell students at this point, and even earlier and later, is one of the best things I found when I am working in this kind of thinking mode is to go for a walk. Go for a walk without anybody else with you, except maybe like your dog or something. Go for a walk where there's not very many distractions. Go be in some kind of environment where you allow your brain to percolate around a little bit. Just let yourself free think. And sometimes that's not easy as teachers. We're used to structuring our days, structuring our time, planning everything. But that time spent really reflecting is going to be really important and will save you time in the end going down blind alleys. So I remember going for walks in both my master's and my PhD studies and really thinking, what's really driving me right now? What really concerns me? Where am I going? What do I really care about? What does the literature say so far that has really pushed me in certain directions? And that can only be done by you, and it takes time. I want you to allow yourself time to really think that way, and that might take some scheduled time just to think. My PhD supervisor would say, don't write anything for the next period of time, just think. And then the writing comes much easier. So I know there's not much time in this course. Remember that what you're doing is not final, but please allow yourself some time to reflect. Don't just sit down and start writing at the computer. So what's speaking to you? Do you have questions or concerns in your world? Are you looking into policies or decisions you've seen made lately and wondering why or how they're being made and want to look into that more? Are you looking into current trends that you see around you and why they are the way they are, or what direction they want to go, etc.? Really, the strength of this program is that you get to pursue what you feel is important. And I've seen some people really become very fascinated in their area of research and go further, quite a bit further in those areas, because these are areas that really interest them. Now, all the way up to PhD studies. So that's something you might want to think about in the future. So when you're choosing a direction, it can be a bit painful because once you choose one path, it means that you are not choosing others. So for example, in the case I gave of online learning in the last video, if you're going to talk about why people are not enrolling in online learning at a community college, then you're not talking about it in high school, and you're not talking about other things that might affect online learning except internet access. And so as you start limiting your scope, which you'll have to do, you also start excluding things. And that can be very hard because you might say, well, I want to know all those things. And of course you do. And as you read, you will find out some of those things incidentally. So it doesn't mean you're abandoning things altogether, but you do have to start to focus. So, like I said, your choice can still change, but at least in this course, you should try to start getting an area of research and eventually towards a research problem, and stick to it for this course anyways, and then it can change after that if you feel differently. And think very hard, again, about why you chose this. What is driving you? What is the big picture reason why this is your place right now? Then we have to look a little bit about if there's enough resources to support your research. And I have seen at this point where people are finding almost exclusively things like books that popular authors write. Not good enough. It has to be peer reviewed. It has to have an academic editorial board, etc. And there's a really good video on the e-class page that you can check out on what is an academic resource. It's done by another instructor, Janice Williams, and she's very good, and I think she will really help you with that. I'm not going to redo that video because I think she does it better than I can, probably. And you might have seen some of this in the past courses, but really think about if the resources that you have available to you are academic enough for you to support your research question. So in the assignment, this is not a big deal. You can just use a sentence like, I use the following search terms, and these are some of the resources I found, and cite a couple of main kind of key resources. You don't have to have a long reference list for this section. Just a few key articles to show that you're headed in the right direction for this assignment. Up to 3 pages. Conciseness in academia is valued. Again, I'll just say, write it as long as you want, but then start editing down. No point form or lists as shortcuts, complete sentences. No need for extensive in-text citations unless you really feel like something's important to cite. If somebody says something in ways that you can't capture in your own words, please feel free to cite it. Use APA format. Double spacing, 12-point font. I like Times New Roman. Other people like Calibri. I'm okay with other fonts, but you have to look at the APA guidelines for what's acceptable. It has to have a title page and a reference list that's proper APA format. If you haven't already consulted it, Purdue OWL, the online writing lab, is a very good resource to help you through with this. And of course, if there's any questions, you might want to use the course-related question forum. That's what it's there for, and then I can respond to you and everybody can see the responses. You can also ask me individual questions by direct email, and I'll answer as soon as possible. So I hope that helps you. The rubric for how to grade this assignment and a little bit more description about this assignment is on the assignment block in the e-class page. So please let me know if you see anything that you can't access or that you're having troubles with. I'd be happy to help. Okay, thanks.